Good evening and welcome to Inside the Mental Health. I'm Bob Biebner, your host and producer of the show. Uh, Unfortunately, my crew couldn't make it because of the weather. I have a great crew. Richard Phelps, associate producer. Nellie Harrington, honorary associate producer, and both of them are co-hosts. And our director, Brandon Lantier, and also our other director, Lucy Fournette, and Carolyn. And they couldn't make it, so I'm gonna do the show myself. And I have a guest here, Joseph Jean-Marie, who will be talking about what spirituality can do for you. We got a call? No. Okay. Anyway, to start the show, we asked for prayer, and I would like to ask for prayer for my friend Denver Noble and Rosa Nobles, who are two leaders of the NAMI group that me and Richard go to, and we ask for prayer for them. They are fantastic people, man. Rosalind and Denver are exemplary people. We're gonna be showing the film after a while, okay, okay, so much going on. Okay, so we'll be showing the film of me and Chico, my testimony. But before we do that, we also ask for prayer for Lucy Fournette, who had lost her husband 4 months ago. Lucy's a member of our team. We ask for prayer for Patsy Bertrand. Patsy Bertrand, let me tell you about Patsy Bertrand. This lady is we're all human. We can all be ugly at times. We can all lose our temper, get angry, or do foolish things. I did many foolish things by going to Patsy's for the last 40 years. And, I'm a character. And, I can make people frustrated and everything. And Patsy, not one time did she raise her voice to me. Not one time. Class. That is class. And I would like to introduce to y'all her niece. Come see, Janae.
A granddaughter.
Her granddaughter, not her niece. Okay. This is Janae, Patsy's granddaughter. Look how beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful women in that family. And if you look at Patsy, she's drop dead gorgeous all the time. And I've talked to guys in St. Martinville about Patsy, and they all say she's one of the most beautiful and sweetest women to ever come out of St. Martinville. So kudos to a great lady. And also another great lady who has been my guardian angel, Miss Jackie Ballou, who is the underwriter of our television show. And I can't say enough for her. She's always there when I need help. And I would like to also ask for prayers for my friend Keith Guidreau and his wife Sandra, who went through the flood and and they had trouble like a lot of people. I don't know where Jacob is. We would like to show the film. I guess. But I guess before we show the film of my testimony, I will read, like y'all know, we advocate reading on the show all the time, reading and journaling, especially if it's good for anybody, but especially if you have mental disorders. So anyway, I will start reading my book. And we will start with, this is, what would you like to drink? A young lady who walks up to the couple asks. Richard and Annette both order Coke Zeros, and the young girl, this is my main guy, Richard Lededden, and his girlfriend Annette, who are in New York City. And young girl leaves and returns with their drinks as Richard observes her long blonde hair and nose-ringing tattoos on her arms as she tells the couple she will be back later on to check on them, welcoming them to the village vanguard. What do you think? Love Annette asked her beau as Brooke and Dusty are now singing, how many roads must a man walk down before you can call him a man? I was thinking about Anton and Damien and whether we will run into them when we go to the Lucky Lucky Casino in a few days, Richard answers. Then while Richard and Annette are discussing their stay in New York, Micah is looking at the pair along with Zorn, who says to his angelic friend, I hope they pray the next few nights before they go to the casino, because it may get hairy if they go to the Lucky Lucky without any prayer cover. Yes, I hope they pray for sure before going to the casino, or it may be trouble. What do you think you're doing over here, Zorn and Micah? Then look up at the ceiling of the Vanguard and see demon soldiers of Zadon peering at the angels through the ceiling with their bodies half hanging out the ceiling, looking very sinister and angry at the angels. It is not your business where we go, Micah sternly says to the three demons who are taken aback by his bowstring voice. You're not welcome here, Metron, the demon talking answers. Micah and Zorna look at this demon and see that it is larger than most of the other usual demons, and they gather that Metron, who they fought before, is large and guess him to be about 7 or 8 feet, with leathery bat-like wings and the body of a muscular human male, but with a grayish and black color, with its fingers gnarly and containing fingernails that were more like talons and sharp and dangerous. Then Micah looks at the demon's head and sees a ghoulish face with a kind of human shape, but with a square chin and fangs and many teeth hanging out in its mouth. Micah had seen many demons of all kinds before, but this demon's eyes took him by surprise, as they were a deep red color with yellow pupils and a look of death that Micah had only seen on Zadok and Satan. And he knew that this was the falling angel of the abyss. And although he and Zorn had fought him before, Micah started hoping Richard and Annette would have the prayer cover they would need to go to the Lucky Lucky in the next few days. This is a book about, it's a spiritual fiction book. And of course you have angels and demons in it. Was that pretty descriptive?
Oh, yes, sir.
So anyway, that's my book. You people might not want to read it because I talk about some spiritual things. I don't know. But anyway, we're gonna start by interviewing Joseph, who was a member of Teen Challenge, and we're gonna get his. Joseph was a drug addict. He don't mind me saying that. And we on this show, we bring people over here when we have guests to talk about what they've been through. We've all been through trouble. We've all had our hearts broken. We've all been punished unjustly. We've all been hurt unjustly. We've been abandoned and betrayed by people we loved, and a lot of us have gone different ways, with drugs and alcohol and cigarettes and all kind of things that are bad for us, So Joseph is going to talk a little bit about his life and let y'all know that this isn't a religious show that we promote. This isn't religion, because I have a disdain for religion, because it's man-made control, and man usually messes up. We're all human. So anyway, when it's spiritual, then it's from God. And we try to lean on the spiritual aspect of life. And of course, I've given my life to Jesus Christ, and I've given my testimony. I don't know where Jacob is. We would like to show the film, but I don't know. We may not be able to show the film. It was my testimony at Chico Park, and it would be a good film to watch. So we'll see what happens. And so Joseph, would you like to start? Joseph, how old are you, Joseph?
I'm 35.
And you're married to that beautiful girl.
My beautiful
beautiful wife, Janae.
Patsy's granddaughter.
Patsy's granddaughter, all beautiful women in the family. And you started, did you have a rough family growing up?
Well, to elaborate first on what you said about religion, I hate religious people, and so
Yeah,
I don't believe that it's a coincidence that I'm here because, you've been trying to get me on the show for several months now. But no, I grew up from a good family. Now my mother and father were both involved in drugs, and my dad sold drugs, and my mom was a big partier.
mm-hmm,
She'd go out and do cocaine and drink, and so I was always pawned off to my grandmother.
yeah,
And so growing up, she would bring me to church with her.
yeah,
And as a kid, I loved to go to church. My
Mhm.
grandfather, he dressed in suits. I wanted to have a suit. I'd wear a suit and bow ties and ties,
mm-hmm,
and so as a young kid, I was captivated by preaching and church. And when I was younger, I was born with yellow-ginis,
yeah,
which is something that kids are born with, and so, but I had it for years, and I would get convulsions, and I had stomach issues as a result of it,
mm-hmm,
and I didn't remember this until my grandmother brought this to my attention, but at 3 years old, I went to the altar to get prayed for, and God healed me from that
Mhm.
illness,
Mhm.
and I never had it again. Uh,
Wow, that's
yeah.
awesome.
yeah, and so
That's a miracle.
when she told me, I remembered vaguely the feeling that I got, because I always could sense the presence of God in church.
Yeah,
And so at about 10 years old, I started smoking cigarettes.
mm-hmm,
My mom and dad both smoked, and so me and a friend of mine, his mom and dad smoked, and so when we were in middle school, we would go after every class, and we would go and hotbox a cigarette in the bathroom.
mm-hmm,
And so, cigarettes as weed is a gateway drug, and I believe cigarettes are a gateway to other things as well. And so at 12, I started drinking alcohol.
yeah,
And so, my grandmother, she started to push church and push me to go every Sunday and go to church. And I was becoming a teenager, and I hung out with the older crowd
mm-hmm,
that was a little bit older than me, 1 to
Mhm.
2 years. And they had a little bit of an influence on me, but I was always a leader too, and I always did my own thing. And at I think 12, I was introduced to marijuana, and my dad smoked marijuana when I was a kid. He would roll it in front of me.
so you figured that it was cool.
I figured it was cool.
Yeah,
I seen my dad doing it, and that's what I wanted to do.
yeah,
He would have friends over, and I as a kid, I would go home and roll up toilet paper because that's what I seen my dad doing.
yeah,
So that's what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
And so my grandmother, she just, out of a good heart, she tried to control me with religion.
mm-hmm,
Not that she was religious, but it was a form of religion because she was making me go to church.
yeah,
And I didn't want to have anything to do with church.
yeah.
I had already ventured off into drugs, and I was smoking a lot of pot.
By then, you had liked church, but you had gotten away from
Gotten
it and
away.
gotten into a new lifestyle with the drug. Same as me when I got out the service was the hippie era, and we all became hippies back then. But y'all know the story about that, so go ahead, Joe.
And so, I basically told God, right now, I want to live how I want to live.
Yeah,
And when I get older,
you go back.
I'll go back.
Yeah,
I literally remember telling God that.
Yeah.
When I get my grandparents' age, and at this time they had to been in their 50s.
yeah. I'm
maybe.
having fun. The time
Yeah,
of
I'm
my
having
life.
fun
Yeah.
now. Little did I know, though, I thought I knew everything about life.
Yeah,
But I was clueless.
yeah.
But at 12 years old, I knew everything.
Yeah, of course.
And so at 14, I caught my first felony. Me and a friend of mine, he came over with some weed. Long story short, the police were called. He did tell the police, though, because this was my best friend growing up as a kid. He was like, "Look, he didn't know I had it.
Mhm.
She lied for me, but the police found a pack of papers in my wallet.
Mhm.
So they brought us both to jail, and so it was kind of like a perpetual down spiral from there. I just kept getting arrested. I was getting arrested for all kind of things, fighting, and then a few months later after that, I caught an aggravated battery charge.
Okay.
I hit somebody over the head with a bottle, and they were
Mhm.
trying to send me to LTI.
Mhm.
And my dad, he pulled some strings and knew some people, and he got me out of that situation.
Mhm.
And when I was about 17, I OD'd on something called GHB,
Mhm.
and
I've heard of it.
I almost died.
Mhm.
I woke up in Charity Hospital, and so that day I still left, and I still continued to do drugs, but I said, you know what, I'm gonna do drugs recreational, and I got this.
Mhm.
I got a job, I started working, I bought a vehicle, and I was dating this girl, and through her, another guy was a couple of years older than me. I had some connections on drugs,
Mhm.
and he had just got out of prison.
Mhm.
Well, he didn't have nothing, so he wanted to make a quick come up. Well, my friend was a big drug dealer in New Orleans, and so, and I'm 17, 18, 19 at the time, 18, and so we start selling a lot of weed,
Mhm.
and then that transpired to other drugs, and we got arrested together. Well, he told the police that all the drugs were mine, and I was telling the police that I didn't know what was going on. I was just playing stupid. And so I went to jail, and I caught another felony in between that time, and I wound up going to prison. They were trying to give me 15 years.
Wow.
And so at this time, I was partying with ecstasy and cocaine, but I never did any hardcore drugs like my friends that I grew up with. Some of them were shooting heroin at 18 and crack. But I said, you know what, I'll never put a needle in my arm, I'll never smoke crack, none of that. But I'll take ecstasy, I'll snort cocaine, I'll do all those things, but those things are not taboo, like heroin,
A
and
heroin
crack.
and crack. Yeah.
That was taboo.
Mhm.
And so I went to jail. I did 3 years. I didn't get the 15, but I did get 8.
Mhm.
I did 3 years on the 8-year sentence. I got out. I did good for a while. I was just partying here and there, but I was working, and then I wrecked my truck,
Mhm.
and I was on parole, and I went back to jail. And so in that time, I had met a girl, and it was just a bad situation. She was older than me, and she had kind of like a control on me because I was a hustler. I always had money. I had drugs. I had jobs, but I probably had more jobs than I should have. I should have been more responsible.
Mhm.
And so I totaled my truck and went to jail for 9 months, and I got out. And 6 months later, I caught a new charge, an armed robbery charge this time.
Wow.
And so this time, my life I thought was over with. I thought that I was gonna be in jail for the rest of my life. I was facing a 3rd felony conviction, and I was arrested for armed robbery. Well, I got on my knees and I prayed just like every other time, and I knew God was real. There was not a doubt in my mind that God wasn't real, and I still believe to this day that God answered my prayers, and I didn't get. They offered me 25 years. I didn't get that. I got 1 year.
Wow.
I got 1 year, and it ran concurrent with my parole, so I wound up doing 18 months. And when I got out, I had a year on parole, or 11 months. And I did that successfully. I started a business, and I had started a business before that, but 6 months I got arrested. So when I got out after the 18 months, I started my own company again. And I had a house, and in that 6 month period, I had gotten married, but 6 months I went to jail. And so this woman that I married, she was living in my house, and so she moved somebody else in my house, and so I was just dealing with all of these things, and I was in jail, and I just got out, and I really wanted to get my house back, but she had been living in it, so it was one of those things that I had to get back with her to get my house. That's what I felt like I needed to do. And then I finally came to my senses, and one day I was just like, you know what? I don't even care about none of this stuff. I can get it all back. And I was still running from God in that period of time. You know, a man of God who goes to church with my grandparents told me when I was 18, he says, you can run from God, but you can't hide.
You can't hide, no.
You
You're
can
fine.
run.
You're fine.
You can run. And I ran for probably 20 plus years. And so in the back of my mind, though, I always knew. It's crazy when God plants a seed in you and he has a call on your life, that call
You always knew
never,
he was there.
I always knew he was there, and that call never went away, and he's got me out of, that was just a short testimony of leading up to what I'm about to tell you, when I entered into a really dark place in my life. When I was 27, another friend of mine, I used to take pain pills, but I never, I could take pain pills today and tomorrow I won't take any.
Okay, well, get to the dark. Wait, get to the dark parts.
So started going to doctor shopping and going to doctors and taking Oxycontin and Roxy's and one thing led to another and probably within 2 years I had a full-fledged heroin and crack addiction.
Okay, yeah.
And so for 5 years I was on heroin and crack.
I would like to say, when God is watching over his people, no matter what we're doing, he loves you out there no matter what you have done, no matter what you have done. And you look like you're very healthy and everything, even with that
Probably
kind
too
of
healthy.
lifestyle. Yeah. So, he was watching over you even back then.
Yeah. And so, that 5-year stint, I'd come to a place where I was at rock bottom. And, Teen Challenge was never in the cards, but my grandmother was trying to get me into this program, but it wasn't Teen Challenge. But we knew Teen Challenge, but she didn't think that I would go. And so for months we battled with it, and back and forth, I was gonna go and then I wasn't gonna go. And I come to a point where I was just broke, busted, and disgusted. I was beat up from the feet up and tore up from the floor up. And I needed to go somewhere before I killed myself or died. Because I started to have, within 3 months before I went to Teen Challenge, now this is 5 years of using opiates and crack, I struggled with depression very badly. And I had suicidal thoughts. I'm not suicidal,
Yeah.
but heroin makes people have suicidal thoughts. It actually statistically shows that 80 to 90% of heroin addicts either OD or commit suicide.
Okay.
Because it's such a hard drug to get off. I mean, you can smoke crack and tomorrow
You're all right.
you're okay.
Okay. Now, what about Teen Challenge, when you got into Teen Challenge?
Well, when I got into Teen Challenge, like I said, I was just at my wit's end. And within 2 weeks, the condition of my heart was really wanting to change. I wanted something better for my life. I even envisioned being married. And this is before I even became a Christian. Like, I envisioned God sending a woman in my life and being married and having a good life. But I didn't know how to get it. But 2 weeks in Teen Challenge, God knew that I was serious, I was sincere, and I had an experience with God. And since then, I have never been the same. I'm not going to say that I'm perfect, and I've had a perfect lifestyle.
Of course.
Because even as a Christian, I fell into sin, and I did things that I shouldn't have done.
We all do that.
But I was very convicted about it. And see, there's a difference, because before, I never had any conviction.
No guilt.
No guilt at all. I do whatever I want.
Yeah.
To steal from you, rob, whatever I wanted to do. And I never felt bad. I never had no remorse. But this time was different. I did something and I knew that it was wrong.
And you felt really bad about it.
Felt bad.
Yeah.
I almost felt
Which
like...
was a new experience for you.
I almost felt like, I'm sorry to say this, but I felt kind of like a prostitute. Like I prostituted myself out.
Yeah.
Really. I did something that was just totally against God and against what, and Jesus has totally transformed my life to where I know that I'll never be the same. That life is not, in 3 short years, God has done so much in my life that the past, I don't never forget where I came from.
Yeah,
But it is a past, and that's it. That's all it is.
yeah. And since then, I met Joseph in February at the Chico Men's Retreat, you know. And unfortunately, we won't be able to show the show because nobody's there. My crew is not here to help me. So, you know, it's just, we're just on our own. So, you know, I met Joseph, and he said he wanted to come on the show. And when did you meet Janae?
Last, yeah, last year around June.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. And then y'all got married, and you started.
Got married in May.
Yeah, and Janae was part of Teen Challenge back then too.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So now you're not with Teen Challenge anymore.
No, actually, you know, that's a chapter in my life that I moved on from.
Yeah.
But I left on good terms, and it was all something that God was leading me away, and so I still have friends that work for Teen Challenge that are always a support system and great men of God that I can go to at any time that if I'm struggling with something. So Teen Challenge is just a tool. Jesus is what is what saves.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was hoping very much to show y'all my testimony of Chico Park, but nobody's around to help us, so we'll just have to keep on going. I would like to say, if you're out there, that of course, you know, this isn't a religious program, but we do go dwell and promote spirituality and a relationship with God or your higher power or Jesus. I call him Jesus, is my best friend, and I believe in it 100%. Because if y'all knew my testimony, some of y'all do, y'all would be amazed. But you know, we'll just have to ad-lib on the show tonight. Denver Nobles is supposed to call in tonight to give us some information on the weather. Denver, if you would call in, I'd appreciate it. You know, and I don't know if Denver's gonna do that. So we'll just go on from here. Go back to your heroin deals. That must have been a horrible experience to go through.
At the time, it really wasn't. It really wasn't until about the third year in my heroin addiction that I started to realize that it was not a good thing that I had gotten involved in. But at the time of using it, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. You lose sight of life.
Of reality.
Of reality.
Yeah.
The reality is the heroin.
Yeah.
Is the spoon and the needle and the ritual of using it, and that becomes your significant other. That's your life.
Yeah.
And that's what you live for, and so it becomes a day-to-day grind. Every day to try to support your habit. Yeah, you live for the drug. You live for the drug.
Yeah, so every day was a day of hustling to get the money, to get the drug.
Yep.
And y'all met a lot of people out there like that.
Oh yeah. I grew up in New Orleans, so you know. I don't know much about Lafayette's drug scenario, but New Orleans is so infested with heroin, and it's so easy to find. It's accessible, and you know, you have young kids, teenagers, 15, 16 years old, shooting heroin.
Yeah, that's
white collar kids.
Yeah,
you know, grew up in the suburbs, and you find them in these neighborhoods that you know, I was in a lot of rough neighborhoods. I never was scared. I guess I just had a never, you know, was intimidated by that.
Yeah.
But even though that doesn't mean that it couldn't have happened to me,
Yeah.
I believe that it was just God's grace
That
and His
protected
mercy that protected me, because I've been in some neighborhoods that
life-threatening neighborhoods.
that some people couldn't even just walk in.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in a way that I'm somebody special, because it's just God's grace that I'm alive.
Yeah. 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 And it's God's grace that I am alive too.
Amen.
Yeah. How was prison like?
You know, prison is not what you see on TV. I mean,
It's a society.
it's a society. It's a world of its own. You know, we are creatures of habit,
Yeah.
and so we adapt very well. You have to. I mean, if I'm in prison for 5 years, that's my fate. It's sealed. I know it. There's no sense for me to sit and cry over spilled milk.
Yeah.
And worry about if I'm gonna get out. Nope, this is where I live, and I just have to adapt to my surroundings. And
Yeah.
so I adapted pretty well. When I was 19, though, it was an adjustment, because I didn't know what to expect. I had been into parish jails and stuff like that, but I never been to actual prison.
Yeah.
And so going to prison was definitely an adjustment. But I adapted very well, and I was able to take care of myself. And you know, prison can either make you change or it can make you worse.
Yeah.
And for me, it didn't change right away. But I tell you, prison did teach me a lot about how to be a man and to survive on my own.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would like to say I have learned how to be a man and survive on my own too, because besides my wonderful mother, who was always there, I've always been alone, you know. Nobody has ever wanted me or was ever interested in me. And like I said earlier, and I'm sure you have been through it, I have been abused most of my life, been rejected, been scorned at, been treated badly, been laughed at, including my dad, you know, who abused me all my life, you know. And I would like to say, if y'all are like that, people out there, especially with mental illnesses, who the public doesn't understand, and who might be going to church or something, go to church, but put your whole heart and trust in your Creator. This is the guy that made everything, Jesus Christ. And I'm just ad-libbing, you know, because I like to talk. But if you know, like Jesus Christ, you know, when Mike Fuselier led me to the Lord, I always get teary-eyed when I think about that. 26 years ago, when I was washing dishes for a living with Janae, who you met, her dad, who was one of my very best friends, who passed away a few years ago, and told me to talk to Mike to learn about the Bible. And that just led to another thing. That was like you said, when the Lord planted a seed in your head, you didn't forget about it. Well, when Todd planted that seed in my head, things have never been the same, you know. So I'm just calling to talk to you people out there who are all by yourself, who have nobody. I know that feeling. I've been there. You have too. And it doesn't mean it's the end, you know. You know, I don't have the hope lines to call, but we will get them again. But we got a call. Yes, caller.
Hey man, it's Denver. I'm trying to get a hold of you, buddy.
Okay. Okay. This is Denver Nobles, who's one of the leaders of the NAMI group, or probably the head leader of the consumer NAMI group. Denver, I hope. Let's see if we got. Let me get a. Okay, if you can read. What you're gonna read?
All right, man. We're gonna start out with the good news. The good news is that Saturday that we're going to have a day in the park, and we're going to have hamburgers, assorted desserts, beverages, door prizes, and much more. It's the 5th annual NAMI Acadiana Family Picnic.
Now, when is that down in Denver?
That's coming up this coming Saturday, August the 20th.
August the 20th, this Saturday, there's going to be the NAMI Walk. Okay, continue.
No, it's the NAMI Picnic.
No, the NAMI Picnic, I'm sorry. The NAMI
Yeah,
Picnic this Saturday.
Yeah, between 1 and 4 at the Robichaud Center
At the Rubber Show Center. So if anybody is
on
interested
Eras Landry.
on Eras Landry. So if anybody is interested in going to the NAMI, that's the National Association for the Mentally Ill, you can go to the Rubber Show Center this Saturday at 1 and 4. That's where the
One.
picnic.
Right, you're right, buddy. 1 and 4. Now listen on this other stuff. Let me just give you the main part of it. That's what I was asked to do. Okay, are you ready?
Okay.
All right. We the main computer address that needs to be looked into is https://www.disasterassistance.gov. That is the primary computer address as far as the disaster assistance goes. Underneath all of that, there is a place where you can look your address up to see if you're available for assistance. You can also get information on disaster counseling, emergency food benefits, disaster supplemental assistance program, and financial assistance, emergency shelter, and relocation. The next big, most important thing is on that same computer address is SAMHSA. There is disaster relief information from SAMHSA. That's the one that's in D.C.
Okay.
And LATAN, which is the Assistive Technology Access Network, is for those people who are blind or have other types of disabilities, and they can get in touch with that. That is http://www.latn.org.
Yeah.
The FEMA numbers are, there's two of the FEMA numbers, and they are #800-621-3362. And for those people who need the TTY connection, it's #800-462-7585.
Okay.
All right. The next thing is for the housing search for rental units and stuff like that. It's http://LouisianaHousingSearch.com, and that is for available rental units to help those people through their landlord get the outreach they need during the disaster.
Yeah.
Cleanup, which is really important. Our state and the people in our communities are really come to do a good job with this. It's crisis cleanup, #800-451-1954. And also for those in need of food, there is a computer site for them as well. It's http://www.dcfs.la.gov. And that's the main thing that's been posted for all of the communities and everything who need the disaster help.
Okay. Thank you, Denver.
Please keep in mind, you mentioned it, our support group meets the first and third Sunday of every month from 6 to 7:30 p.m.
Yes, thank you, and we will be meeting at the Lutheran Church behind Academy. Just go behind Academy, and you'll see the church, and you go all the way down to the end of it, and you'll see some cars parked, and we're gonna be having a meeting this Sunday at 6 o'clock. So, Janae over there, if you wanna come, you're welcome to come. You and Joseph can come if y'all want, you're welcome. But anyway, yeah, thank you, Denver. I'm sorry we won't be able to give my testimony, but I would like to say, to people out there that are by yourselves, you know, and especially to people that are hurting, you know, out there. And we all suffer. We all suffer. Huh? Mike's calling?
Well, he will be.
Okay.
Can you click in?
Yeah, let me see.
It's not hung up.
Okay. Okay, Mike, I hear you calling. But, you know, we all suffer, you know? And to people that suffer, especially with mental conditions, a lot do dual diagnosis and go to drugs and alcohol and everything to relieve the pain.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work, Joseph.
No, it's just the word that I'm looking for. It only helps for the moment.
Yeah, it only helps. It's only a temporary relief to make
Yeah.
you feel better.
Yeah.
But the symptoms come back. you know.
Temporary solution.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I can feel for people out there that are all by themselves. You know, I know it is a horrible and lonely feeling, but and I'm by myself most of the time. I'm not married. I'm divorced. I was abandoned, of course. But you know, a lot of people have, like, I can feel for y'all who have been hurt out there and don't know where to turn. I would say talk to a friend. You have your churches. You can go to a church. You know, churches will help you. You know, you can, even though I'm not into religion, churches do help. You know, I go to a non-denominational church with a fantastic man of God, Richard Leday, who this guy has been to heaven already. You know, so anyway, you know, you can do that. Mike, somebody got a call. Yes, caller.
Hello.
Hello,
I don't think you answered it.
caller. We missed you. If you could call back. Okay. So anyway, you know, if y'all, okay. I'm a little array because we didn't show the film. I was counting on the film, but you know that happens in life. You know,
It's
people
okay.
make mistakes. So you made it through prison,
Yeah.
and is it like a lot of fighting and all kind of stuff going on?
It can
You have a society, and
It can be, but if you carry yourself like a man and you know, the main thing is when you go to prison, you stick to yourself. You
yeah,
know, you're not trying to make any friends because nobody's in there to be trusted.
yeah,
Nobody's your friend.
yeah.
Even the ones that you do make friends with will sell you out in a heartbeat.
Of course. Can you show
Those
the
videos?
film?
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna show the film. We might be able to show 5 minutes of the
No,
film.
you got it. You still
You
got
got a caller.
We got a caller? Hello? Okay, the caller's not working. The phone isn't
Hello?
working.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just tuned in, man. I called you and Joe there on the program.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, I was sorry to see your testimony from Chico. You could get
Well,
us-
we might be able to show a little bit of it. You know.
ready for it?
Yeah, we're gonna show it right now.
Okay, I'll stay tuned.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Mike. This is the guy that led me to the Lord 26 years ago. My life has never been the same. You know, it's just funny how one idea or person can change your life completely. You know,
Is
God.
that, it's gonna come up on
It's
that
gonna come
screen?
up on the screen, I
Okay,
think.
you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
And my dad was, the guys back then were tough guys. They weren't like the family guys like some of the guys are today. They were tough. But, and that would impact me later on in life. But anyway, I grew up, I was in the Boy Scouts, all the boys, everything was great, it was wonderful. I got drafted into the service when I flunked out of college. I had a nervous breakdown and I was diagnosed paranoid schizophrenia. Now, schizophrenia is one of the worst of all the mental illnesses. It is a heinous, horrible condition. And after the service, I got involved with my friends in the hippie days. I was the love peace generation. Tune in, turn on, drop out, make love, not war, back then. And I got up, that was my new identity because my dad didn't have anything to do with me. And we built a teepee on one of my friend's properties and we would go smoke dope and trip on psychedelics and listen to Pink Floyd and the Moody Blues and watch fireplaces move from one side of the area to the hallucinating. And we were having a good time and eventually I got busted for growing marijuana. We were the first ones in the area, in Louisiana probably, to get busted. And we were scared we were going to Angola because there was a felony to grow marijuana at the time. So we made a deal with the police, Sheriff Usually and them, and we went to show our stash on Stone Road where we had 1,000 plants in cups that we were going to transplant into the basin. But that's just a little bit of my life, you know. I'm just, you know, have to kind of hurry up, so I'm going to just go into, those were the hippie days. You know, we would hang around Robert's Lounge and people were smoking dope inside the clubs and all that. And those were kind of fun days. But then the schizophrenia started to affect me. And I started to get very, very paranoid. I quit doing the drugs because they were making me paranoid. And I would go from job to job with the schizophrenia. You know, schizophrenia is like y'all have all heard of bipolar. Bipolar is a mood disorder. It works with how you feel. Schizophrenia is a mind disorder. It's not like people say, where you have another personality. That is a dissociative identity disorder or multiple personality disorder where you have different disorders. And then of course, 1 out of 4 people in the world have a mental illness, that's statistics. And I was suffering really bad. I wanted a girlfriend really bad. I had one, she broke my heart, of course. They have all done that, but you know, that's a mystery in itself. But anyway, I was hurting really bad. I wanted friends. My friends had all gone different ways, got married, gotten jobs, and I was stuck by myself. My dad didn't have anything to do with me, you know, never did. And always, if he talked to me, he was always abusing me. And that's the only time he ever talked to me. As far as any kind of empathy or anything, humanity, that never existed in my life till today. And of course he passed away. And of course I've forgiven him. But anyway, it was tough times at that time. And I had gotten an FHA house. And I would go home at night and try to sleep. And I would be having anxiety attacks. And I'm sure some of y'all have had anxiety attacks. And I would be shaken. I'd be nervous. I'd be crawling out of my skin. And I would be having delusions like I was the worst. I was worse than any pervert on the earth, worse than any mass murderer, and all kinds of stuff like that. And I would be thinking, everybody in town was thinking about that. And I would be screaming and crying, you know, for relief. And it was pretty tough. And that went on for a few years, almost every night, sleepless, restless, anxiety, and nobody in the town, because I was so nervous, I was smoking 4 packs of cigarettes a day like this. I'd be driving in the car, people would be following me. They'd see me flicking out ashes out the car. Then they'd see me throw the cigarette away. Then they'd see another cigarette appear like magic, out of clear air. And that's how I lived my life. And back then I was so nervous, and people treated me really, really bad. I was the butt of everybody's joke. I was the odd man on the totem pole, and I was suffering very, very badly. And nobody would give me a job or even talk. As far as women, they completely laughed at me or ignored me, which broke my heart. That's all I could do. But anyway, I got a job at Possum's restaurant. Possum was a childhood friend who helped me get a job at Possum's restaurant. And I worked over there. I was a dishwasher, half out of my mind, working with Todd. Schizophrenia is a horrible illness, and you talk crazy sometimes. Sometimes Todd would hire a new waitress, and I'd say, well, she's in the stable. Can I have her? Can you give her to me? And crazy things like that. Of course, I never bothered any of the girls. I was always sweet and kind to them, but I always talked kind of crazy back then. And I would talk to Todd after. Todd was Possum's brother, who has one of my good friends who did pass away. And one night, we were talking about God, and Todd told me, if you want to learn about the Bible, talk to Mike usually. And that's when me and Mike hooked up. And, I started going around Mike. I was so lonely back then, I'd wake up and I'd just close on my body just to get away to be around people, When I take a bath, I just sit in the tub and just splash water on me. Sometimes I was so nervous, not even using soap, which drove my poor mom crazy. But anyway, Mike led me to the Lord, and then later on he baptized in the body test. I was wearing Speedos when he baptized me. That was a trip in itself. But, and I went, and things started to change. I got a job at Louisiana High with Mike as a teacher's aide, and I was perfectly suited to that kind of life, with the kids. I don't have patience with grown-ups because of the schizophrenia, but with the children, I had the patience of an angel, and it was a great job, the best job I ever had. And then me and Mike went out different ways, and I was able to get married. Mike was my best man. I married this girl, and we lived together for a while. I was able to get VA disability, and I was doing well at the time. And then we got ran into financial trouble, and my wife, one day I went to a weightlifting contest, and when I came back, the whole house was completely empty. She had deserted me and abandoned me, But that happens, I'm still friendly with her today. I've forgiven her. But anyway, schizophrenia, like 1/4 of the population has a mental illness, and I'm sure some of you guys out there deal with it. I was hurting so badly and thought these horrible thoughts about myself that weren't even real, And that's what schizophrenia is, a mind thing. I've talked to this girl, I know this girl that's schizophrenic. She thinks that if she drinks a Coke, she's going to kill somebody. That's how horrible the illness is. I know another friend that I've heard that's like that people they'll ride around the block in their car a few times thinking they ran over somebody and they're looking for who they ran over. And of course y'all have heard of the people that think airplanes are flying over them, spying on them, and they put aluminum foil all over their windows and everything to block the radio waves. It is tough, and I must say, when Michael led me to the Lord, things changed. Now I'm a calmer person. I smoked 4 packs of cigarettes a day for 20 years. like that, you know? I got delivered from it. I haven't smoked in 17 years. But I start off, they say once you quit smoking, you'll always have the urge. You know, the people don't like to be around smoke, they don't like the smell. It don't bother me at all. I can be around 1,000 smokers and not have the urge and not be disgusted or anything, you know. When God does something, he does it great, you know. And since then, you know, like back then, I was all by myself. I had nobody to back me up. Mike was in my life for a season, and I'll always be grateful for that. He it's awesome. It's awesome. But anyway, I've come full circle, you know. Right now, since then, from washing dishes half out of your mind, being the butt joke of everybody, laughing at you and making fun of you, now I have a television show that I invented 10 years ago called Insight into Mental Health, where we go on the air with my crew to try to help people that are hurting out there.